So, good morning. I believe this video is working. We'll see how it goes. All right, good morning. My name is Lisa Raichu Kessler. And this morning, what's been on my mind is how do we make it through this time of the year? It's always been a difficult time of the year for me. I have some of that, seasonal depression, and I know that what I've usually done, or I used to do at least when I was younger, is that when the weather got cold and I didn't feel like going outside, I'd tend to just kind of shut down, spend more time just wrapped up in a blanket on the sofa, maybe reading or sleeping. And what I notice when I do that is that the less active I am physically, um, the more I just become more and more withdrawn and maybe even experience a little bit of depression. So, what do we do about that? For most people, I would say getting outside in the wintertime can be a little bit challenging, but we still need that stimulation. We need that physical activity, the sunshine, the vitamin D, all of the things that tend to liven our spirits a bit and perhaps bring us joy. Then there's also the issue of being around friends, and many of us are hesitant to do that right now. Perhaps you have a small group of friends that you're comfortable being around, and that's really great. If we can feel like we can safely spend time with others, with people who bring us joy, and not completely isolate ourselves from everyone. And of course, some people are more comfortable with that than others. So, in thinking about joy and thinking about how to keep myself active, one of the things I've been doing since I retired is that I've been walking about 4 to 6 miles every day, and that's been great. It's a lot of activity for me compared to what I used to feel like I had time to do when I was working. And it keeps me busy, it keeps me active, and I really feel good when I do that. Now that it's getting cold, it's a lot harder for me to get outside. And so what I'm finding is that I'm struggling with just, maybe getting a couple of miles in a day. Some days I even look outside and think, oh, can I even do this? So, one of the things I've started doing, and some people might think this is a little crazy maybe, but one of the things I've started doing is that I dance in my living room. I tell Alexa to turn on this 80s dance music, which in my mind, it's not the best music that I like to just listen to, but it is music that can tend to really, get you going, get you moving. So that's one of the things I do. I turn the music up loud and I just kind of dance and prance around my living room. Does it feel a little silly? Yeah, it does feel a little silly, but I feel good after I've done it, and sometimes even work up a little bit of a sweat, and I can turn the heat down a bit in my house. So, with that said, a friend of mine posted a poem on Facebook that made me actually think about talking about this today, and I'm probably going to mispronounce the poet's name. It's Hafir, Hafir, He was a Persian poet from back in, I think, the 14th century. So here's how the poem goes. I sometimes forget that I was created for joy. My mind is too busy. My heart is too heavy for me to remember that I have been called to dance the sacred dance of life. I was created to smile, to love, to be lifted up and to lift others up. O sacred one, untangle my feet from all that ensnares. Free my soul that we might dance. And that our dancing might be contagious. So that's what I want to ponder for a few moments as I start my meditation. And of course, as I sit very still in silence, I am having that time when I want to look inward, go into that internal self, and really calm myself through my mind and through my movements. And then there's other times when maybe it's better to just let loose and go with that wild dance of life that we do. So let's get comfortable in a seated position. I'm on a cushion. You may be on a cushion. You may be sitting in a chair. If neither of these positions are comfortable for you, even consider lying on the floor. In yoga, we call it Shavasana, where we lie on our back and completely relax our entire body. We want to keep our mind alert, though, during meditation when we can. And we often do that by focusing on our breath. You can also have perhaps a mantra that you like to repeat to focus on. That's fine too. Whatever works for you. So your eyes may be open or closed, leaving our eyes open just a bit where we can connect with the environment around us. Or perhaps it just works better for you to close your eyes. As we just begin to scan our body, noticing where we hold our tension. That tension may be in the jaw area. You can try relaxing that by just allowing your teeth to drop apart just ever so slightly, but keeping the mouth closed because if possible, we'd like to breathe through our nose. And then just noticing any other tension in the face, perhaps the brow area, perhaps around the eyes. Just kind of scanning the whole head and noticing if there's any areas you may be able to relax. As we simply move down, moving our focus on the neck and the shoulders. Sometimes it can be nice to lift the shoulders up, tensing them towards the ears, and then just seeing what it feels like to completely relax. Often we're holding tension in various places and we don't even realize it until we focus on that part of the body, hold it tight, and then notice what it feels like to really relax. We notice if we're sitting in an upright position that our back is strong and straight, holding us up, opening the abdomen, relaxing the muscles in the front of the body, and opening the heart. The shoulders are directly under the ears and directly over the hips. The legs are relaxed. Perhaps you're able to sit with your legs crossed in front of you. Sometimes it helps to place some more pillows underneath our knees if that helps a little bit with that stress that often sitting puts on that part of the body. If you're sitting in a chair, you may want to sit away from the back of the chair, not leaning on it, having your legs out in front of you with the knees bent and both feet firmly on the ground below you. Just scanning the body once again, noticing any tension, and just simply breathing in and out. It can be very relaxing to just allow the arms to drop naturally from the shoulders, placing the palm of the hands down on the upper legs. Or perhaps you have a mudra you like to hold your hands in as you meditate. I like the cosmic mudra where the thumbs just barely touch, creating sort of an oval with the left fingers above the right, and placing that mudra right below the belly button. The hands can rest on the upper legs as the hands also sort of rest against the lower abdomen, if that feels comfortable to you. Just scanning the body and noticing any areas that you could possibly relax just a little bit more as we just sit and breathe. And as we relax the body, we relax the mind. We're not exactly putting out an effort to control the mind. That's a lot of work, and at least for me, doesn't work very well. So instead, my focus is just allowing the mind to settle. I like to think of the mind as a glass of water with sand in it, and when I stir it up with thoughts, it becomes murky. But if I just sit with it, just continue to relax, allowing thoughts to come and go on their own without emotional attachment to them. Well, it's like the sand settling at the bottom of the glass and the water becomes clear. If you feel yourself perhaps needing to adjust your body a bit, perhaps just consider that adjustment, breathing into it, and making that movement part of your meditation. And noticing again, has the mind wandered off to a different time and place? Does it feel a little bit difficult to stay in the present moment at all times? Well, if that's true for you, you're certainly not alone. But we'll just be gentle with our brain, not to get upset, not to get frustrated, but just to know that bringing ourselves back to the present moment, that is the practice. And you may even consider that each time you remember to come back to the present moment, you experience enlightenment. And so as our time starts to kind of wind down, I'd like to recite the poem one more time. I sometimes forget that I was created for joy. My mind is too busy, my heart too heavy for me to remember that I have been called to dance the sacred dance of life. I was created to smile, to love, to be lifted up, and to lift others up. O Sacred One, untangle my feet from all that ensnares. Free my soul, that we might dance, and that our dancing might be contagious. And so I'd like to dedicate the merit of our practice together today to joy, that we may all find the joy in our lives. So if you're like me and you get kind of sluggish during the winter time, the colder you get, the more you tend to just kind of pull on more covers, cozy up on your favorite chair, and not do a lot of movement. That can actually bring on a more depressed mood. So perhaps consider, what kind of music is it that really gets you moving? Maybe it's that 80s dance music that reminds me of the early days of MTV. Maybe it's that old rock and roll. Maybe it's the twist and Chubby Checkers or Motown. There's a lot of great music out there that just hearing it often makes us want to just jump up and move around. So think about that. If that's something available to you, that you can crank up that music and dance around your house, and hey, nobody's watching, so you don't have to consider, am I a good dancer or not? Just get out there, move around, work up some sweat, and see what that's like for you. So with that, I'd just like to wish you joy and happiness, and I hope you have a beautiful day.